Our top story this hour, officials say more than 50% of the ballots have now been counted after Crimeans voted to either stay in Ukraine or join Russia. According to early partial results, more than 95% voted to become part of Russia. Officials said there was an unprecedented turnout, with at least 8 of 10 eligible Crimeans having their say. Let's go live now to RT's Alexei Yarashevsky, who is joining us in the Crimean capital, Simferopol, with the latest. Alexei?
Indeed, according to the latest figures we have received from the Election Commission of Crimea, more than half of all the ballots have been counted, and it seems that overwhelming majority of the Crimeans have supported the idea to join Russia. Of course, we know that there were two questions on the ballot sheets, whether Crimea should become part of Russia, whether it should revert to 1992 constitution and stay with Ukraine with a larger autonomy. Well, judging by what we saw coming from the Election Commission of Crimea, 95.5% of Crimeans have voted to be part of Russia, and that's considering a very high, unprecedented turnout for the peninsula, with 79% of the population taking part in the voting. Of course, this result is something maybe not all of us have expected here, but definitely this has been a very sensitive issue for the Crimeans. We are of course waiting for the final result to be announced. It may come somewhere during the night, but we do know that at 10 o'clock in the morning local time that the local council, the state council, will gather for a session where it will publish the final results and declare the official outcome of the referendum. Right now, the capital of Crimea, Simferopol, is more like a party scene. Short while ago, I went to a concert which is now being held in the central square of the city, and I filed this report for you to see. The mood here in Simferopol, the capital of Crimea, is already that of celebration. Thousands are now here at the central square of the city in a large concert. We hear chants "Russia, Russia" everywhere, sounding everywhere across the square. The preliminary information is that 93% of the Crimean population supported the idea of joining Russia. We know that there were two questions on the ballot sheets during this referendum: whether Crimea should join Russia or that it should remain as part of Ukraine, reverting to the 1992 constitution. We have seen no major violations according to international observers participating in this referendum during the voting. Indeed, it's a very sensitive issue for Crimea, for the peninsula. It's been part of Russia until 1950s, when Soviet leader Khrushchev handed it over to the Ukrainian Soviet Republic, and after the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, Crimea became part of Ukraine. Now it could become part of Russia if Moscow decides to take the opinion of the Crimean population into consideration.
The referendum was held under the watch of 135 observers when 23 different countries. RT caught up with two of them, who told us that the vote was held according to international law.
The referendum has been organized quite professionally, concerning the fact that there was very little time to prepare all the institutions, to prepare all the staff for polling stations, for electoral commission. Very peaceful, calm, and it was organized according to most basic and most important international standards.
All the day I was as an observer in different places, in Simferopol, in Sevastopol, and I can certify that it was a democratical choice and an historical choice for the people. It was a very peaceful day. People voted massively, and now we know the result, which is quite incredible. And I think and I hope that the Western world will be fair, and will be fair because we have a massive vote in favor of reunification with Russia and with homeland.
These are the latest pictures from the Crimean city of Sevastopol, home to Russia's Black Sea Fleet. Crowds gathered in the central square, many waving Russian flags, chanting pro-Russian slogans. Other cities in the peninsula seeing similar scenes as the ballot counting continued. The referendum was triggered after President Yanukovych was removed from power after a violent uprising in the capital, Kiev. Crimea's local government also pledged to protect their people from what they saw as an ultra-nationalist threat from the capital. Details from RT's Paula Sleer.
They are nationalists. You know, they openly say that they are for Bandera, Shukevich. They say that those people are heroes of Ukrainian nation.
But most Ukrainians, as well as Russians and Europeans, view them as Nazi collaborators.
They say one nation, one language, one country, one church. They do not tolerate any diversity.
The interim Kiev government has 6 ministers, including the deputy prime minister from the ultra-nationalist far-right Svoboda party. One MP from the party has already threatened Russia with nuclear weapons if Moscow does not cease to support the developments in Crimea.
I think government now in Kiev is not legal, and they capture their power only by not by desire of people. They capture their power only by themselves.
The forceful grab of power, violent seizure of government buildings, and nothing short of armed coup. That's how Crimeans see recent events in Kiev. They strongly disagree that those protesting in the capital represented the majority of the country's population and refuse to recognize the current authorities as legitimate.
First thing the Kiev government did when they came to power was to make a law cancelling the Russian language. Obviously, it created waves in the southeast because that's a mostly Russian-speaking region. It created a lot of anger.
97% of Crimeans speak Russian, and the fact that one of the first actions was to strip the Russian language of its official status could not leave people here indifferent. Russian has also disappeared from government websites. There have also been cases of Russian journalists being denied access to the country.
When Russia gave $15 billion, it didn't put any conditions on Ukraine. It was for the Ukrainians to decide how to use the money. When Europe gives money, it immediately stipulates conditions to raise social benefits and to open the economy to European products. Ukrainian products won't stand up to competition from European products if you open the market like that.
The partnership deal with the EU was seen as catastrophic here from the onset. Now the West is promising economic aid through the International Monetary Fund. But the assistance comes under the strictest of conditions and has already pushed other countries to the brink of collapse. Paul Islia, RT, Simferopol, Crimea.